This week on Music Worth Buying, we're going to be talking about Fuego by Phish.
And WalterTrout's The Blues Came Callin'.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Music Worth Buying. My name is TJR. I'm a musician and a music writer.
And my name is Robert Kinsler, and I'm a music writer and a musician.
And so we're ready to once again share with you some albums that we are both personally excited about, and share it with each other and share it with you and see what you think. And so I'm going to start off the show with the first album by Phish in 5 years. It's their 12th album. It's called Fuego. And also it is my first Phish album. I've known about Phish's reputation as musicians, as a band, you know, but I've never really delved that deeply into their albums. And so this is my first time. This album was produced by Bob Ezrin, who produced classics such as Pink Floyd's The Wall, Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare, Kiss's Destroyer album. Now, some of this album was recorded in Nashville at the very famous Fame Recording Studios, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Mm-hmm. And then some of it was also then worked on at the band's own studio, The Barn in Vermont. And Fuego, I can't compare this to any previous album. So if you're a Phish fan, hey, excuse me, I can't compare this to anything. I'm just taking this as the album as I see it. Mm-hmm. And I'm loving this album to death. I really am.
Well, great.
This album kicks off with a 9-minute track called Fuego, the title track. We're going to listen to a little bit of that in a moment. It's 9 minutes long. So right away, there's this progressive attitude, prog attitude to the music. But there's this music, even though this 9-minute track is very fun, very catchy. All the songs are fun. They're very catchy. This album is kind of like just a fun summer day that isn't too hot. That's how I really look at it, which is weird to say about something that has kind of a progressive attitude to it, musically speaking. It's light and breezy, and yet it's also musically complex all at the same time. So let me go ahead. We'll start off with the title track. We're only going to get to play about 30 seconds here, unfortunately. But I'm going to play you a little bit more of it and get your feedback on it.
Great.
But here's a little bit of Fuego.
This is my first listen, and and like you, I don't know that much about Phish. I mean, obviously familiar with their reputation. I've never got to review them, never reviewed any of their albums. But this, on a first listen, very impressive. It has kind of the ambition of like some of the great progressive rock bands like Porcupine Tree or Marillion that you kind of associate with England, but there is a very American quality to the music in terms of like you hear some Americana and roots flavors in it, but it has that same kind of ambition like of a Yes or a Genesis or something like that. And I definitely want to hear this album, but based on listening to this song. There's also, and especially in this song, I feel a strong Beatles influence, in my opinion. I hear that too.
In the way the backing harmony vocals
Abbey Road is what I'm hearing.
Exactly, the way the piano and the guitar sound together, the way they're blended together.
Yeah.
And you've got this classic rock producer, Bob Ezrin, who's worked on a lot of albums that are now considered classic rock, and he still produces new albums to this day. But he's known for having produced a lot of great classic rock albums. The performances and the production are very focused and very tight, but nothing feels overproduced. Everything feels just immediate. The energy's good. When you listen to this, and it's just a fun album. I never don't equate progressive with fun too much, but I am with this album quite a bit. Now, packaging-wise, this one comes in a 4-panel, I guess I would call this a 4-panel eco wallet. Because of the way it opens up to where the CD's on one side, the booklet's on the other side. And I wasn't too sure about this cover on the front, but I really like the back cover artwork. And I really like the interior cover artwork quite a bit. I wish I had this on vinyl so I could look at this bigger when I'm listening to it. I could be sitting there like this, with the big vinyl record there like this while I'm listening to it with headphones. But yeah, I do like this artwork though quite a bit. And there is a booklet included, and the booklet does feature all the lyrics. The lyrics are easy to read. Yes, nice font. No real pictures. Yes. Just all the lyrics. You know, who wrote what, who played what, all the usual production credits. And that's, like I said, in a 4-panel eco. I would call this a 4-panel eco wallet.
Okay.
And so let's go ahead and listen to another track here off the album. And this one is called. This one's a little bit more concise, not quite as sprawling. It's just a nice song. It's called "Devotion to a Dream." Here we go.
No more phone calls. Today, the vows are broken. It's today the charade. You don't say what you mean. It's today the curtain's coming down. I've got faith in a fairy tale. Devotion to a dream. Today the time to turn around. No more.
You know, I'm loving that song too. I mean, it's just immediately my hand. I'm here playing air drums, and that's just a fantastic song. I can barely wait to hear this album.
There's no bad tracks on this album. None. Every track is as good as each other. What I get out of this album is that this is music created by musicians who obviously felt great joy while creating it, and that joy translates when you listen to Fuego.
Yeah, wow, it's fantastic. Like I said, I'm just, and normally I always like to give, especially if I'm reviewing an album, I always want to hear at least everything at least 3 or 4 times, if at all possible. And I'm definitely want to put this in and listen to it, because I'm one of the most refreshing things I've heard in a long time. It sounds great.
Glad you like it. Yeah, me too. I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. So tell us about your album.
Okay.
What you got today.
Now, what I brought in is The Blues Came Calling, which is the latest album from WalterTrout. What I have here is the executive, or not the executive, but the deluxe CD DVD version. But just even a standard version of this album would be great. Walter's, The Blues Came Calling is truly like a masterwork for him. He's one of blues, greatest singer, guitarist, songwriters around today. And he was the guitarist for John Mayall's Blues Breakers before he went solo about 25 years ago. The backdrop to this album is he was actually suffering from liver disease. And I recorded the album from April of 2013 to January of 2014. He actually recently had a liver transplant in May of 2014. He is on the mend, but this album was recorded against a backdrop, like he told me in an interview. He didn't know if this was going to be his last musical statement on his life and about everything around him. So it was literally a labor of love, but it was a very difficult achievement for him to even complete this album. He covers more terrain on this album, I think, than he's ever covered on any of his other albums. I mean, you hear Delta blues, you hear British blues rock, you hear Chicago blues. It's all in the mix, but it's all WalterTrout with his fantastic and unbelievable guitar playing anchoring the whole thing. So let's play a little bit of Wasting Away, and then we'll talk about the album, and I want to get your reaction on that too.
All right, thank you. Whenever an artist does a song about something that's deeply personal, like this song is, maybe you lost a loved one, or you've had a near-death experience, you're close to death, something that's very serious like this. The immediate reaction for most people to say, I think for a lot of critics, is to just immediately say it's great.
Yeah.
Even if the song isn't great, because there's just an immediate reaction to do that.
Right.
I've always said it's great if you want to express your political, religious beliefs, something deeply personal. You still have to write good songs.
Right.
And even if this song was just she left me, she done left me, nothing that terribly autobiographical. Just like here's another she done left me song. I'd still be saying this is one of the best songs I've heard from him. One of the best songs I've ever heard from him. This is a great riff. This is a great blues riff. It sounds fantastic. The melody is great. And the Wasting Away, yes, it's deeply personal. It's about something deeply personal. If you didn't know that, you could relate that to so many other things in your life. And so there's there's still this great universality to the lyrics.
Good point.
Irregardless of whether you know what it's about. Knowing what it's about will, of course, deepen your appreciation for it and make it resonate even more.
Right.
But Yeah, to sum up, this is one of the best tracks I've heard from him. One of the best tracks I've ever heard from him.
Yeah, and I think it's important for everyone to know. I've known Walter for a number of years. I know you've opened for him.
I've
before.
Opened for him once. He's a very nice person,
and he's fantastic. And that's part of why I think he has such this link with people. But despite all, it's great that he's a great guy. But what's amazing is he's just also, a lot of times people can't even see beyond his guitar playing because that's so amazing. But here, when you listen to this, you say, my God, his lyrics, his vocal delivery. It's not like he's just a guy going by the numbers here. It's just deeply, the performances are deep. And, one thing I want to say here, too, is that there's so many great songs on here, and it covers a lot of territory. I think I mentioned it, in the song The Blues Came Callin', it's almost like this mythological story about this guy, he's in bed, and the blues come and grab him and won't let him go. There's another song called Nobody Loves Me Like You Do. He wrote about his wife, Marie, a very deeply felt song. And then one of my other favorite songs in here, we're going to play another one in a minute here, but there's another song he does called Willie, and it's about all the creeps in the music business that have ripped him off, and I know you know all about the music business types, and I definitely know about him too. And it's just great. He covers all this terrain, and the good news is that Walter does appear to be on the mend, and hopefully he is going to be back in 2015 playing more concerts and doing more albums. But I just really highly recommend this album, and it's just a beautiful package. It comes with the DVD documentary as well that I watched. It's about an hour long that they recorded at the beginning of 2014. He's there mentoring some high school students. You see him in the recording studio, and the booklet, which is embedded in the packaging, is just great. It has all the lyrics. He makes notes on what each of the songs is about, what he was trying to say. Just beautiful artwork of his guitar, his Fender Strat there, and pictures of him growing up. I mean, it's just it's like I said, and I'm not saying anything that I don't think he would mind me sharing, but he did not know if this was going to be his last album. So, this was very important for him to get this album done.
Yeah.
Typically, he gets his albums done. I guess basically they're recorded, with the band and himself in the matter of like a month or so. This one, because he was so ill, it took him almost a year to do it. Like he said, some days he would drive up from his home in Huntington Beach, California to Hollywood. He would get up to the studio. He could only record an hour or two. He was so weak, he had to turn around and go home. There was other days he had booked time. He couldn't even get out of bed. So this is against that backdrop. And then, like I said, to have made such a fine album, it's just amazing. And this next, I don't want to be all down because, obviously, Walter's story is a good one. He got his transplant and he's recovering. But this next song is something that, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit. It's called Born in the City because he really loves the city. He's not a nature guy. He's not, somebody that grew up in rural Mississippi or something. So this next song really talks about his love of the city and of urban sprawl and everything. So let's listen to a little of that one.
Cool.
I know the country living is peaceful and serene. I like the danger of the city, where the streets are hard and mean. I was born in the city, the big city's where I love to be.
Some people do songs about being lost in the city.
Right.
That seems to be the thing, and he's talking about being lost in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
And being where he needs to be in the city. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, and again, like I said, he covers everything on here. John Mayall's on, who is like a mentor of his. He's plays Hammond B3 on the album, and it's just a great album. I think it really celebrates his legacy. And like I said, the good news is hopefully we're going to get more music from WalterTrout. And although he had to cancel all his tour dates in 2014, it's kind of neat. His son John Trout, who's a fantastic young guitarist, and this British guitar player who was mentored by Walter when he was just a teenager growing up in England. His name is Danny Bryant. They've gone out with WalterTrout's band so that he can keep his band working, and they've been doing a pretty well-received tour.
Good.
And but I know what Walter said, he's hoping to get strong. He's hoping to start playing the guitar soon again, and he said all the music's still in his head, and all it has to do is his body, when he's recovered enough, the strength is back, he can get back out there and start delivering his epic performances of what she's known, and just a fantastic performer. I know we've both got to witness his guitar wizardry and craft, and he's just amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Well, great pick.
And thanks for bringing Phish in,
Yes. We've both, I would say, had a very fine catch.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
I had some fish,
and I had some
You've
trout.
got some trout.
Yeah, yeah.
And WalterTrout, we hope you are feeling better soon.
Definitely.
And we're right behind you. You know, hope you're feeling better each day. And until next time, once again, as always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please share the show with your friends and let them know about it on Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to click under Show More here on YouTube, where you can find a link to our blog page, which will link you to Amazon, where you can listen to more samples and where you can show your support by purchasing the music, either physically or digitally, whatever you prefer. And until next time, I'm TJR. Check out my music at tjrmusic.com. Check out my solo reviews here at the channel.
And my name's Robert Kinsler, and you can read more of my stuff at ocregister.com and, of course, at musicworthbuying.com.
We'll see you next time.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.